just want to flip really quickly, sort of like this evaluating a candidacy file, and it's and really sort of like from an admissions perspective. Okay, when we get your file in, okay, and what they do is like everything is done online now, but admissions people, some people in admissions tend to be sort of old-fashioned and they still like to read on paper, so everything gets handed out like this, okay, in paper. And you generally have a file that's probably about a half an inch thick, okay, even though you may not even realize you filled out that much information. And let's just go through sort of like how we would consider sort of how would we really review and the important factors of what we consider in a candidacy's evaluation, okay? So we get all this information about you, a file, and the file includes your transcripts, it includes your application, it includes your essays, it includes your SAT scores, it includes your recommendations, it includes any notes they might have had on an alumni interview or on-campus interview that you may have had. So it includes all these different things in here. And people who don't even know you, okay, to us, all you are is pretty much sheets of paper and a lot of scores and a lot of numbers and some personal statements and a few other ideas that maybe someone who recommended you wrote down. And we have to go through these things and decide, are you a good candidate for this school or not, okay? So how do we go about it? And is there a method to the madness or not? Well, there is kind of a method to the madness. And I think the first thing we want to look at is sort of like the emphasis and the importance that sort of grades play, okay? And within grades, there's a lot of variation. I mean, the types of schools you went to, the competitiveness of the schools you went to. But once again, no matter where you go, if you get high grades, the assumption is that if you get a high grade at one school, you probably would get a high grade at another school. So once I really want to emphasize the importance of you continuing your academic excellence. Grades, because grades, the best indicator of future behavior or future success is past success, okay? And obviously they want you to succeed at school. So grades obviously play the most important factor in sort of evaluating your candidacy. So overall, it's about 30% of your overall grade. If you want to figure your score is 100%, okay, your grade component and how they break down and how they look and how they evaluate your academic performance and how they deem your academic potential to be is about 30%, about a third of the overall score, okay? The next thing is what you're all studying for on Saturday morning is your SATs, okay? SATs, the reason we have standardized tests is this is really sort of the one piece of the objective information that's cuts across all candidates, okay? So you and someone else maybe in Russia are going to take the SATs to get into the same school. It's the only objective data. You'll take the same test as someone in Russia, as someone in Argentina, as someone in China, okay, as well as some people in California and all over Canada, and everyone in the world who wants to go to American college basically has to take the SAT, okay? It's the equalizing factor, okay? Yes, some people do well on SATs, other people do not do well on SATs, okay? I'm not the greatest standardized test taker, but what I have to do is I really have to, I know I want to get into a program, I had to muscle my way through it. I'm just not the type of person who could sit down and figure out like the reading comprehension passages with ease. But I had to practice really hard because I knew it was a really important factor. I didn't know until I got into admissions just how important it was, okay? But this one day, one test, okay? Yes, it's unfair in many regards, but once again, it is the equalizing factor, and it really accounts for about 20% of your overall candidacy score. That's a huge amount, okay? Once again, it may be unfair. If you're a great test taker and you do great on your test, I mean, that's really great, okay? If you don't do well on your test, well, there are still other points to make up for it, but I would really encourage you to take the test again, okay, until you try to get as close to the score as the highest score you possibly can. So really, it's really important that you practice and you really do well on this, okay? Also, for a lot of scholarship money, SAT, PSAT, ACT, they have cutoff points, okay? They don't have cutoff points for scholarship on grades. They use the scores as a factor, okay? So the scores are being used for a whole different set of criteria, not just admissions, but also scholarship, okay? So really, 50% of your score for overall admissions is based off of your academic performance or your performance on tests. That's a lot, okay?